Greetings, everyone. This is Heger Herger, and I'm here to give you my first impressions of episode 2. I wish I could quote the episode's name, but they haven't posted it yet. Tonight, I literally just got finished watching it. I'm not going to be using any or almost no photographs tonight because, well, it's 10 o'clock at night. It's which is getting on towards being late for me, and it's a huge pain in the ass in order to, even with the number that I added in for last week's episode, I don't want to have to go through that again right now. Okay, so the episode, I really liked it. Now, I want to start off that I like I said last week, I watched Game of Thrones through my computer. I went to the player information, and it's only an hour. I'm like, what the hell? This is supposed to. There's the episodes of this season are supposed to be long, like feature length long, and I'm feeling very, very cheated. That frustration aside, let's get on to the stuff that I did like, the stuff that I noticed, the stuff that I had issues with, and there's some tonight. No real surprise when it came to the trial, and I use that in air quotes, of Jaime Lannister. Um, it kind of made sense with the knotted relationship that half of the principal characters have with Jaime. Um, there was no way it was going to go smooth, but I thought the scene in the Great Hall and then the follow-up scene in the Godswood I thought they were good. I laughed out loud a bit when uh, Brienne was going out beyond the walls just before her conversation with Jaime, and we got to see Podrick actually being competent and confident, helping train others. He will account himself well in the next episode. It's so nice to see that they've made all of those training scenes with Podrick amount to something and have it coalesce into a fighting style which he uses with confidence. Podrick is not in the classic category of survivors in A Song of Ice and Fire. He's not a cripple, he's not a bastard, and he's not a broken thing. Although that actually could be argued a little bit. But yes, he is a noble, but he is from a very minor branch of the Payne family. So he accounts himself much more as a common folk than he does as an actual nobleman. So that's one of the reasons why I think he will survive. I'm curious to see who Podrick ends up serving at the end of this. If he will go back to the ancestral loyalty to House Lannister, if there's any Lannisters left, or if he will become a sworn sword or a bannerman to House Stark. I have to say, kudos to Sansa Stark. Her taste in outfits is amazing. I love her outfit that she's wearing for this episode. I love the top. That is just absolutely, totally kick ass. And if I was a woman, I would definitely want to wear that. I found it endlessly funny throughout the entire episode that Tormund is still hitting on Brienne all the way through. Every single scene, with the exception of the War Council, every scene that he is in with Brienne of Tarth, he is hitting on her. I just think that is absolutely awesome and amazing. Now, there's something came up during the episode with Missandei and Grey Worm. Their conversation of what to do after the war, and I really like the the sentiment. It's happened again and again in history, both in real life and in fiction, where there's a point in which the warrior, he doesn't want to fight anymore, and his days on the killing fields is over. He wants to just fade away, where they take up gardening or poetry or music or whatever, where they spend the end of their days in quiet pursuits. And that's obvious where Grey Worm is heading. And now he is pure warrior, and he doesn't know how being essentially, I don't, born and bred is not exactly the right term for an Unsullied, but indoctrinated and trained from such an early age, war is all he knows. And with his relationship with Missandei, it seems there's no surprise there that he is saying that he would go, and probably with as many Unsullied who would care to follow him, with considering how he's described in the book as a person of great leadership and with a lot of respect from his fellow Unsullied, to go to the islands of Noth and become the defensive army to protect Noth from slavers and other threats that they may have. Absolutely wonderful sentiment. However, there is a problem with this plan, and it's a fatal problem. It's not brought up, but Missandei knows, as many of us book readers who have gone further into the lore of the Song of Ice and Fire, it won't take long for the Unsullied, who did not come from the Isle of Noth, that they will die. They will die in a horrible way from butterfly fever, because all foreigners who spend any real amount of time in Noth fall victim to this, and they die in a pretty nasty way. I don't remember the exact descriptions of the disease, but it's described as a nasty way to go, which is, I mean, the sentiment of the scene is wonderful. I love it. It's great. Fatal disease. Yeah, there's a bit of a problem there. Oh my God, I was so overjoyed to finally see Ghost. Good God, it has basically been 2 seasons since we have seen him, and now we finally do. Awesome! I hope he's going to survive the upcoming battle. However, I wouldn't be surprised if Ghost does die in the upcoming battle. I really don't want it to happen, but I have a feeling it will. Possibly while defending Brand in the Godswood, possibly going up against either a regular White Walker or the Night King himself. I loved the scene. This may be a little bit of out of order. I didn't put it in my notes, but I loved the scene where the 3 brothers of the Night Watch had their conversation with Dolores, Ed, with Sam and John, and with the words, "Last one of us, be a good lad and burn the rest of us." I thought that was just absolutely fantastic. And the banter going back and forth between Sam and Dolores Ed was just hilarious. The scene the gathering scene in the Great Hall, when everybody's starting to show up to find a place to sit down and have some quiet contemplation. When it came to the Tormund and declaring that he had brought his own drink, and that was a lovely drink horn, I must say. I was slightly horrified in the way he was holding it. Um, for those of you who don't know, when it comes to a drinking horn, you have the tip up so you can drink it properly and not end up wearing it like Tormund did. Um, but obviously, he was so beyond caring. I'm really, really glad that there was more interaction between Arya and the Hound, and there was just instantly so many callbacks to their to the adventures of Arya and the Hound across the Riverlands. It's yes, there's a degree of separation, but there's enough there to kind of suggest that it this was something that they will always have between each other, assuming they survive. And that line where she says, "I'm not going to spend my last night amongst the living, amongst with you two miserable shits." I just thought that was just so hilarious. And I see that girl crush that Arya seemed to have had with Gendry has finally flowered and bore fruit, possibly literally in both ways, which I thought was a nice little touch. Um, it it also shows that she is not as she's still there and that she is not entirely taken over by the cold face that she presents. I was talking with a friend of mine, and I characterized from what Arya, from what I saw last week, is she, yes, she is a Stark, but she is slightly kind of removed, and she projects, if you will, serving House Stark, um, which at the time seemed about right. With that, I'm not entirely sure. The fact that she has revealed more of herself, more the fact that she hasn't entirely gone down the the faceless man or down the path of a faceless man, um, I think bodes well for her character in general, and it was really nice to see. I thought there was some nice symmetry in the scene with um, Sam and Jorah, where Sam lends him Heartsbane for use in the battle ahead. With Jorah having once been passed or having once inherited Longclaw, or was in line to inherit Longclaw, the fact now that he is still going to be wielding a Valyrian steel weapon is has this nice resonance, I guess, to it. It just feels right. So whether that bodes well for Jorah's survival, I can't really say. I would like to see him survive, but I could also see him dying very bravely um, in the upcoming battle. Um, Although one thing that kind of stuck out in my mind was in that final sequence after the army of the dead arrive at Winterfell and everybody's getting to their positions outside the wall for the battle to come, that Jorah's mounted. Now, that's appropriate, him being of a member of a noble house and basically being one of the generals of uh, Daenerys Stormborn. You can't really wield a greatsword, which Heartbane is, from horseback. So it just something that I noticed and just like, okay, that's kind of odd, because a great sword, two-handed sword, whatever you want to call it, it's That's big and awkward to try to wield off of horseback or while on horseback. Um, Now, needless to say, once he loses his horse, and I can almost guarantee he will, um, then it will be much more comfortable to be wielding a greatsword. And of course, Jon/Aegon decided literally just moments before the battle is to start, that is the perfect time to unleash the great huge crap storm that is the revelation of his true heritage and his real name and his position in the line of succession, which which will of course cause untold trouble, and I hope to everything that it doesn't cause that moment of hesitation at a critical moment in the upcoming battle, especially if a dragon is lost, which, considering all, and, well, not all, but most of the White Walkers that you saw at the end had those dragon killing ice javelins, like the one that was used to take Viserion down in during last season. So, well, everybody's coming to the party with all their tricks and everything that they've got. So I am really looking forward to next week. I'm not going to touch the previews at all. I'm not interested in having anything spoiled in any way, shape, or form. I'm trying not to get too deep into speculation. As I said, I happen to like. I'm very happy to take episodes one at a time. Um, and this episode, where it stands with the two other episodes, I think it did extremely well. Last episode had very much a feeling of being rushed because there were so many reunions that were crammed together. But this one had the right sense of foreboding before a big battle, and having served overseas in Iraqi freedom the first year during the push, that feeling is familiar to me. So I liked it. So that's all I've got for this time. If you liked what I did, give me a like and share. And anything else that struck your mind, put in the comments below. And everybody enjoy their week, and I will see you at the next one.